special because it's not just the audience now, we have another guest. But before we go to that, I want first to introduce my co-host, Mr. Melwin. Melwin, how are you?
I'm fine, Samba. How are you?
Fine. Let's say that I'm great.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm fine. Why are you so great tonight?
I mean, we have a guest, and he's going to teach us amazing things. Very enthusiastic, I'm looking forward to the great things that this night is going to provide.
Yes, well, let's see it.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, the guest of tonight is Mr. Humbuye Stafford. Mr. Humbuye Stafford is an entrepreneur, a brilliant entrepreneur, Not only that, he is the CEO of Wecraft. Wecraft, yes, I'm very sorry for that. Wecraft Limited. Mr. Humbuye is going to talk about, or he's going to preach about, how the African youth in general can create or can build projects or startups that change lives in general. I am going to give my co-host, Mr. Melwin, the chance to go in details of who Mr. Humbuye is. Melwin, the floor is yours.
Tonight, once again on Sango Staff, we have the opportunity to have an amazing guest with us, an exceptional guest whose journey is inspiring an entire generation. Mr. Humbuye is an entrepreneur, a startup advisor, a strategic innovator, but mostly the CEO, co-founder of Wecraft Ltd, which is an educational startup based on transforming learning across Africa. He is recognized for his commitment to education, innovation, youth empowerment, but also impact-driven entrepreneurship. He has represented Africa in many plethora of international forums, such as in Belgium or in Abu Dhabi, and his work has got the recognition of the Ministry of Education of Rwanda. And tonight he's with us. So let us welcome Mr. Humbuye Stafford.
A round of applause, please. How do you feel, Mr. Stafford?
Very excited. I've been waiting for this moment, especially with the fact that I've always believed that entrepreneurs have great potential, and getting a chance to talk about it anytime, any day has always been my greatest inspiration and song.
That's amazing. So I want to start our area of discussion with your childhood. I want to know, in your early stage of development, what really led to this mindset of entrepreneurship? What motivated you to be an entrepreneur?
I think I was fortunate enough to be born with a mind of curiosity, if I could say. I always used to ask questions growing up, and with that particular mindset, actually giving a particular scenario, I got my very first job as whole staff, so pretty much in the hospitality industry. And I always used to wonder, what would it take for somebody to be great at what they do? And it was in that era where I'm pretty sure majority of you know about Cristiano Messi, type of competition they used to have back in the days. I think they still have it until now. And with that, seeing how Messi and Cristiano used to compete, with my very first job, I also wanted to compete with my colleagues, but in the best way, yeah? I wanted to compete, and I used to wonder, what could I do to be the best version of myself and to change the industry as well? How can I be the Messi of the hospitality back in the day? And with that mindset, I think I used to observe how everybody does what they do, and I used to aspire to be better. And I think in my very first 1 year, I got around 15 job opportunities in the hospitality sector and other sectors as well. Simply because I think I was very good at what I did. And I was very good at what I did because of that mindset to try to compete and to be different. I wanted to be different. I remember one time there was a customer who came in, and after a few interactions, he told me the next person who's going to hire you will hire a very, very good employee. And such scenarios really did push me forward. I came out of magazines, different ones. I won awards in the hospitality sector, and with that, with testing what success feels like once you do very well, it made me wonder, what more can I do? And from that curiosity, I started watching YouTube videos, watching Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos and everybody else, Jack Ma, and it further inspired me even more. And that was the first experience that I had with what it would be like, or what it would feel like if you became the best version of yourself. Yeah.
So what inspired you to become a leader?
I could say dreaming. And dreaming that came from the fact that I was seeing what leaders could achieve and how they could push the human race forward. And again, some of the people that inspired me, just like I said, there was Messi. I'm a big Messi fan. I don't know, probably some of you are Cristiano fans. And also my mom. My mom inspired me a lot because she's an entrepreneur herself. So growing up in a family where my direct best friend, who was my mom, who is still my mom, and she was a very good entrepreneur. She's still a very good entrepreneur. It kind of inspired me to actually become the best version of myself and to become a great leader, because I could see what a great leader does and what they can achieve if you are one.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay,
Melvin?
quick question,
Sure.
like before continuing. You have said that in your pursuit of being a great person, you have compared personalities with great performance such as Messi and Cristiano.
Yeah.
You have said you're a big fan of Messi.
Yeah.
What is in the personality of Messi that inspired you to become the person that you are today?
The fact that he's so humble, and yet everybody thinks he's just naturally gifted. But the truth is that he works very, very hard. I think following him and loving him made me dig a little bit deeper into what he did. And fun fact is, until this very moment, and he's around 39, he's the very first person at the training field until this very day. Trainings usually start at 8. He's there at 6. So that personality and that competitiveness that was hiding behind the humbleness is the one that actually drove me. I was like, you can actually be humble, and people will think, things are just working out naturally for you, but there's hard work behind the curtains.
Okay, so may we know, where did you study in Rwanda? Where did you study your university journey?
Just right here at University of Lay Adventist.
Univac.
Yeah.
How did this journey drove you to the person that you are today? What did you learn there that made you become the person you are today?
At the university?
Yes, at university.
Truth to be told, universities, you see how usually you have presentations and weekly challenges and everything. It was a great motivation for me, knowing that you can. I wasn't so passionate with what I actually studied, which was environmental studies, but the journey of being patient and studying all the way through, and doing the weekly challenges that they usually bring, meeting other like-minded individuals, and presentations. I was actually very poor when it came to public speaking and sitting in front of the camera. But the university journey that usually forces you to stand in front of everybody and talk, whether you like it or not, it was one of the biggest lessons I think I learned in life, and I learned that from the university.
Talking of the lesson you learned at university, what did you learn outside of the university that made you become the person that you are today?
Interesting.
Good question. I think I learned patience.
Patience.
and resilience as well. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. This is something that I knew since I was a child. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Fun fact is, when I was 19, I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur so bad, and I invested in reading and motivating myself so much that at 19 years old I tried to buy a hotel with no money.
Oh.
Yeah. I attempted it. And I went to this very rich man. I told him, I think you have a great hotel, but I think I can change it, all this. I gave him a whole entire blueprint of how I can change his hotel. And he asked me, how much money do you have? I said, I don't have money, but I have passion, and I'm pretty sure that I can run this hotel and pay you in time. And he looked at me and he was like, where are your parents?
I know.
And I felt so discouraged. I was like, this man can't see the kind of passion that I have. Yeah. So yeah, resilience, and that was something like 12 years ago, and I'm still here in the entrepreneurship world. So yeah, resilience.
Okay.
So this next part is called African Youth Around the World.
Yeah.
I have to give the space for our audience to ask you questions about what you heard or about the topic of tonight. But before we do that, we are going first to listen to a video of Mr. Dindi Theodore. He's from the Central Africa Republic. He has a message concerning this topic of tonight. It's like a message or, a word of encouragement or like a point of view.
Okay.
We want to hear from him first before we move on to the audience. If the video is ready, can they please put it on? I guess there's some technical issues that are happening, so let's just begin with our audience. We are going to listen to the video later, but for now, let's just begin with our audience. Melvin, can you introduce our audience?
So tonight on the audience we have 6 amazing guests, and we are going to let them speak. So may the first one ask his questions.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So my name is Bruce. The funny fact, I read your story from LinkedIn.
Oh.
It was with Stewart, right?
Yeah.
And the time wants to buy the hotel.
Yeah.
So
How did you know?
another funny fact,
I think
I
I went to
also worked in
LinkedIn.
hospitality for years.
Oh,
So I know you with your brother. You did a lot from the ownership and craft.
thank you,
And
thank
let's
you.
talk about how these kind of connections.
Yeah.
And also work in the same house. I work at the North Cape. But I'm in the part of investors. You are entrepreneurs.
You're okay, on the other side.
So, along what you said, I have one question. Like, what are the opportunities like technology is providing for the African youth who wants to launch impactful startups today?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think probably when I see you in Norskin again, I won't pass you by. So technology, I see a lot of people are scared of it. I'm into education, so we work with young kids, and sometimes I see that some parents are, a little bit skeptical when you're talking about technology. But the truth is, you can't escape technology. You can't. And if you don't embrace it, or if you don't use it well, you'll just be left behind. So African entrepreneurs should learn how to leverage this technology. For example, when we started WeCraft, the whole entire idea was, first of all, I don't think I really talked about WeCraft. In general. So we aim to bridge the gap between what children usually learn in classes and the real life experiences. So for example, if you want to be a doctor, there's the dream of becoming a doctor, and there's the practical aspect of it. So we started with in-person sessions, going to schools, doing different activities with the children. But then we realized without technology, we could only reach a limited number of students. And with technology, we were able to reach to around 10,000 children. Now, that is what technology can do. I can't multiply myself. And the in-person sessions that we're doing, we can't do that once everywhere. It's not possible. But with technology, with what we did, because for example, we created a tool called SkillSid, which proudly we could say is Sub-Saharan's first purpose-driven learning platform. And now with this platform, we are able to help. It has the capacity of helping 50,000 children at the same time, with personalized learning. And that is what technology can do. And startups and entrepreneurs need to leverage technology instead of being scared of it. So I don't know if I answered your question in multiple ways. Yeah.
Satisfied?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Emmanuel?
Yes, good evening.
Hi.
Yes, as Sangwa told, I'm Emmanuel Noah. I'm happy to see you as entrepreneur and CEO. For me, with my brothers, we have a company called Kigali Sector Training Center. It is an idea we have where I started emergency and disaster management, where I see the people in Rwanda, they are facing different problems. People get injuries on the workplace. People get illnesses while they are going in retirement, but there is no follow-up of those. So we decide how our improvement, how our contribution to the community. We decided to build a Kigali Sector Training Center. So, but according from your experience, that can help me. I wonder how a young entrepreneur can get a donors and how you can go in competitions and you win for different awards. So that is my questions. The second one, when you win the donors, when you found donors and you get the award, sometimes the people when he's going or she's going, he meet with different people. They want to work with you. They want to have a partnership with you. How you will manage those people when they see you are growing, while you are growing. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to get your question well, you're asking how, like, once you win funding or once you get, an investment, how do you work with the people who are coming into your company? Yeah, did I get it right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. First of all, I think your idea is pretty great. What you're doing right now. So keep going. So with our very first funder, if I could call it like that, was an institution called Alan and Jill Gray Foundation, which created something called another institution called Jaziri. And again, speaking about this is funders are different, and the same with donors or investors are different. So sometimes it's up to you to know who you need, because you don't need every single funding. That is the truth. Yeah, sometimes we as WeCraft, we've turned down around 4 different investment opportunities because we could see sometimes the vision is not the same. Like Jaziri, they help you and they support you in your own field, and they don't dictate what you have to do. So they give you the freedom to navigate around, to fail, to figure things out. So again, that is why we say not every single funding is good for you. And we were fortunate enough to have to be in the Timbuktu, which is like UNDP type of funding, and then Jaziri and a couple of others. but through all these partnerships and funding, that is when we got to realize that some of them were, pretty much not the best for us, and some of them are also very good, especially those ones that I just mentioned right now. So yeah, you don't need every single investment. You don't need all the funding in the world. Besides, as an entrepreneur or as a startup, you shouldn't aim to just survive on funding. Sometimes it cripples you. So you have to make sure that even if you do get one, you can survive on your own. So you have to have traction. You have to have actual customers who are paying for your product. Yeah. So I don't know if I answered it well.
That's very nice. Are you satisfied, Emmanuel?
The second one,
Sure.
how do people use
Oh, how you get partnerships?
the people wanted to get partnership with you while they are seeing you are growing?
Oh, who want partnerships with me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We are a company that believes in partnerships. Also because we believe Africa and startups can't really reach anywhere without partnerships. For example, there is something that we do very well, but also there are things that we don't do very well that you probably might be better at, yeah? So we are always open for partnerships. If you're individually, you're open for that, then we can have the discussion afterwards. But we believe in partnerships a lot, and I think every single entrepreneur should really believe in purpose-driven partnerships. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think you got your answer, Emmanuel. So without further ado, I want us first to play the video of Mr. Dindi Theodore from the center of Africa.
Bonjour, bonsoir, chers téléspectateurs sur Isango Star. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes en train de vouloir débattre sur un thème très important, comment les jeunes Africains peuvent créer des startups et changent des vies. Alors, il faut savoir qu'une startup est une entreprise naissante, mais à forte croissance, pour permettre de booster l'économie de tout un pays. Et si les jeunes Africains se mettent dans l'optique de pouvoir créer plusieurs startups qui permettent désormais et dorénavant de pouvoir multiplier encore davantage les opportunités d'emploi pour pouvoir créer d'emplois en faveur de la jeunesse qui se trouve être désœuvrée jusque-là, vu que sur le marché d'emploi, il y a saturation et que des fois, les entreprises se font rares ici en Afrique pour pouvoir recruter les jeunes massivement. Et à la question de savoir comment la jeunesse africaine pourrait-elle être en mesure de créer des startups afin de changer de vie, là, à cette question, nous allons répondre qu'il est important aussi d'accompagner la jeunesse dans ce processus. Il est important que nos banques puissent favoriser des financements vis-à-vis de la jeunesse qui viennent de finir leur formation. Et cette jeunesse qui a sans doute besoin d'un capital nécessaire pour pouvoir créer la start-up. C'est important que cette jeunesse soit accompagnée. Et cette jeunesse consciente qui serait accompagnée va pouvoir créer plusieurs startups et qui pourraient effectivement changer des vies dans nos pays, ici en Afrique et particulièrement en République centrafricaine. Alors, recevez ma salutation depuis Bangui.
So Mr. Melvin is going to translate for those who don't understand French what Mr. Theodore was talking about.
Mr. Theodoro was talking about the importance of building up startups in Africa because it is actually a factor that brings more employees. And he was also defining what is a startup. And he was like, the question that he was asking was, how can we help youth to build more startups that will help them and also help the community? That is the question he was asking. And he was putting emphasis on the fact of helping those youth to build startups. This is where we need Mr. Stafford for that. Yeah, so this is what he was saying actually.
Yeah. So how can we help the youth build more startups, yeah? One, I think, which is another thing that Wecraft is aiming to do. So we aim to give children exposure, to tell them all these things exist. How many people in our youth that even know the actual meaning of a startup. So youth, first of all, have to know that, startups is not just creating a company for the sake of creating a company or for you to get rich, but you have to actually solve a problem. And knowing that, these problems that we're solving are our problems. For example, we created WeCraft because, again, as I said, starting at UNILAC, I was into environmental sciences. But I personally wanted to become an entrepreneur. So I wish I had tools like the ones that we're creating in WeCraft that would have helped me, navigate through that, actually become the best version of myself, become an entrepreneur, or probably learn entrepreneurship in university. But majority of the youth don't really know that these problems that are here are to be solved by ourselves, by Africans. And also, I think governments as well. I'm very grateful for the Rwandan government. I think they try way better than the majority of other states. But when it comes to the African context, I think governments have to invest a little bit more in startups as well. Now, financially, yeah, definitely an important arm, but also mentorship. Yeah.
Okay.
That's very nice. So can we proceed with Mr. Cedric? Introduce yourself, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Safford. It's a pleasure to see you, to meet you.
Thank you so much.
My name is Cedric Ilakoze, and I'm Young Entrepreneurs Startup. Okay. And I have a startup company which learns about fintech.
Fintech.
Yeah, fintech. I developed a system that helped the people to manage their money and know their expenses. The reason why was because I used to have the money, maybe monthly salary, and then after a few days, come to my mind and say, Cedric, maybe somebody is stealing your money, because I didn't know where the money is going. And I got this idea to develop this system that can help the people. Instead of keeping writing, I bought this one, I send this money to this person, a system which can do that for you automatically. So that's what I'm doing. And apart from that, I'm also a president of the tech club at UNILAC, where we are sharing about the digital skills, so which can also make a student and even the people to get ready for their career and update and adapt this digital era that we are in, which is this AI, artificial intelligence in their business, in any sector of industries, whether in Rwanda or Africa. So I'm really excited to see you, and because we share the same, spirit of curiosity, the spirit of dreaming. Because me personally, I have so many curiosity about the business, and I really love entrepreneurship as a problem solver. And my question comes after listening to your story. I was wondering, 3 questions, allow me to name them so that you can go through them. The first one is, you say that you got an opportunity to go outside to learn from people, to learn from these people who have succeeded some great achievements. So for us in Rwanda, how can we get these opportunities to go outside? How did you get it? Because some of us, we are here, we are just walking around, we don't know. How can we get those kind of opportunities? The second one is, you have started from the scratch. Then you have seen a lot, you have made a lot of mistakes. So what kind of mistake for us as young entrepreneurs can we avoid to do in our journey to be successful?
Okay.
Then the second one is, which kind of mistake have you committed on your journey, and how that mistake changed your life to be the person you are today? If you allow me, let me read the last one.
No problem.
I'm sorry, I'm a curious person, so
Okay.
I want to go with the answers. So, how purpose drive a startup transform a local communities and create sustainable development in Africa, especially even also in Rwanda too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Cedric.
Okay, thank you for the questions. First, when it comes to opportunities, you can even go on the kind of platform that we created, that skill set that I was talking about. It has multiple opportunities to, take students abroad for studies or for conferences and, multiple stuff. So, but that is, I wasn't saying that the solution is in our platform, but I was just, making that fact. But I think opportunities are here when you look for them. And most importantly, networking. Because, sitting at home and not going out there, you won't pretty much get to know what's happening. So you have to go outside your comfort zone, go in conferences, meet people. I think for me to learn about Jaziri, it was through my uncle, who knew that I loved entrepreneurship so much, and he sent me this link. But again, it's because he knew that I loved entrepreneurship so much. I'm pretty sure he didn't send the link to everybody that he knows. But it's because I was friends with him, he knew about my dreams. And that is just that Jaziri. I got so many opportunities, and the majority of them, like 90% of them, I got them from people, meeting people, and people getting to know what I'm into, and knowing that this thing matches what is out here. The opportunity meeting me. So yeah, networking, it's one of the greatest ways to, to know all these things. But also, we are in an era where information is very much available, if you look for it, and if you know what to look for as well. So internet is a great tool. When you go out there and we are lucky enough that nowadays I'm not the one who looks for opportunities. We have somebody for that, but it's also a constant. It's a full-time job looking for opportunities as well. It's a full-time job. So yeah, I think you can get it when you look for it on internet, but also the majority of it, just like I said, I think 90% of the opportunities we got were coming from networks. So networking is a great thing. I think the second question was it the mistake that I made?
And how it shaped you?
And how it shaped me. Oh, I think the second question was like, what mistakes should startups avoid?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This one is very critical. Market research. Sometimes you sit down and you think of a solution, or you think of this great product that you want to build and how it's going to function and everything, and you dive deep into it just to realize it's not working. So market research before you venture into anything is the greatest thing that you could do before you actually build, whether it's a startup or almost anything that you could do. Yeah, so the mistakes that I usually see people making, and I was lucky enough to avoid it, or we, as WeCraft, were lucky enough to avoid it because we had these mentorships before we actually started WeCraft. But then we got to see the value of market research, going out there and talking to the actual customers. And it's an ongoing process until now, until this very moment. WeCraft has been alive for 3 years now, but we still do market research because things change, mindsets change, environment, a lot of things change. So market research, and it has to be as intensive as it is, and you have to be honest with yourself. Even when you're doing that market research, you don't have to influence, your questions when you're dealing with the customers. So it has to be genuine. You have to understand what you're solving, the actual problem of what you're solving, and from that comes your solution. So I think third is the greatest mistake that I've made, yeah?
And how it shaped you.
And how it shaped
how
me.
about, without interrupting
No
you,
problem.
please, how about we try to, minimize
Sure.
the time?
Yeah.
Everything.
When it comes to a mistake, I think not documenting things. It was one of the greatest mistakes that I think I've ever made since I went into this startup world. Doing everything and thinking I have it all figured out, or just trusting the kind of partnership that you're having without really documenting it. So with time, you just get to realize that paperwork that you skipped, or that particular trust that you had without writing it down, is a mistake on its own. And the fourth one, and how it shaped me, yeah. So nowadays we document everything in our journey. Yeah. Was there a fourth question that I
No.
probably didn't? Okay.
I think you're satisfied, right? So can we please move on to Mr. Benon? And guys, let's try to use the little time that we have properly.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Benon Ndahiro.
Hi,
which
Benon.
is the most common name, Ndahiro.
Yeah.
And I'm pleasure to be here first and foremost. It's such a kind of a pleasure to be talking with Mr. Stratford and how you passed by your history. There is a saying that says that a tree that forgets its roots floats from the top. So your history is a backbone for everything. My question would be so simple to you, but again I won't go very far from what I was reading nowadays, which is called The Magic of Thinking Big. In his saying, he says, youth must dream big and bigger. But in this dreaming bigger, it must be with the transparency of hope. And he describes hope as the youth for Africa. So what do you think are the challenges, apart from technology and capital, that youth are facing in these real moments that in their startups may cause some issues?
I think that thinking big and dreaming big. A friend of mine once told me that your feet will never take you where your mind has never been. So which means you have to first of all dream it. Again, going back to our cause and what we're doing is we're giving kids, the freedom to dream. Because again, with dreaming, there comes creativity. So having a startup is one thing, but also, dreaming of what it could be or where it could reach is a very important aspect. So I think apart from funding and technology and everything else, the African youth have to believe that they can actually reach milestones. Recently I was watching Artemis 2 go to the moon, and I was thinking, people sat down and thought of this whole entire engineering. So what do we think about when we're sitting down? Is it just to survive? Is it just to have a startup so you can have funding and have bread on your table? Or is it to actually achieve something way greater? Where can your startup, how far can your startup go? So dreaming big, knowing that you can actually go out there. I think it's the greatest mindset that you can have as an entrepreneur.
As in believe in yourself, huh?
You have to believe in yourself.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Also, the last thing, your team. Your team is one of the greatest assets that you could have. And I was fortunate enough to have a great team, an amazing team that would do anything for the cause. So just being having an idea and having a startup is one thing, but knowing who to help you, because again, you can't do it yourself. It's not possible. So you have to have a team that believes in what you're doing. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I hope you're satisfied.
Always.
Thank you. So Mr. Hassan?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening.
It's quite a pleasure being with you here today. Well, I'm called Hassan, first of all, Hassan Abang Ali Ramadan. And yeah, we've been talking about entrepreneurship, startups, business. Like, as I have only one concern, as young people, we've always had the ideas. We had ambitions that outpace the available resources. So, how can young founders overcome the lack of fundings and limited access to investors?
I think funding is very critical. Is very, very critical, because almost everything that you do, transportation, everything needs money. So it is critical. But what is even more critical than that is the question of whether you really genuinely love what you're doing. Because from that, you know, even God blesses you. Things work out for you. Because that is again what, that is what feeds that resilience that we're talking about. So you don't just have to have a startup or you don't just have to think about funding. You have to first of all, you know, look into your heart and see if you love it. Yeah, because once you love it, you will go miles for it. And let me tell you, the world is watching. When you love what you do, things work out for you. These networks that we're talking about, it becomes seamless, it becomes easy. So funding and everything else comes second, but I think you just have, first of all, to really love what you do. And if we have more youth that love what they do or that wants to actually solve problems and they're so passionate about it, I think everything else flows. And yes, funding is critical, but it comes one way or the other.
Are you satisfied?
Mr. Joel?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening.
My name is Joel Mirume.
Hi, Joel.
I'm from Congo. So my question is this. Nowadays, we still have many African youth. We still have many African youth who have great startup, but they don't have customers. So my question is this: what did you do to break that barrier at the first, and what would you say to someone who is stuck at that point?
Thank you for that question. I think for you to have, if you don't have customers, I'm not discouraging you, but the question comes into, are you solving the right problem? And who are you solving it for? Now, if you have somebody that you're solving it for, then they will become your customers. But again, you have to go on the field. The same thing that we talked about, market research. You have to talk to your customers. First of all, figure out what they actually can pay for. Because sometimes you have all these great solutions and everything, and you don't have customers. But it's because customers don't want to pay for your product. They're not interested in your solution. So you have to go to the field, talk to your customers, figure out exactly what they could pay for that is relating to the kind of problem that you're solving. In fact, it should always be problem first. So if people actually have pain points, if they're needing your solution, then it shouldn't be a problem for you to get customers. So I don't know if I answered it right.
Yes, but you didn't answer about what did you do to break that barrier?
Ourselves, we went to the field. We went to the field and we talked to customers. The very first time when we started WeCraft, we were biased, just like every other founder. You know, you're thinking in your head, what if we did this? This is the best thing. Parents, because we're dealing with the parents. Parents want this, they want that. Until you go in the field and you're telling them, we bring all this great solution, and they're like, okay, that is nice. You're like, but can you pay for it? So when somebody says, nah, that is when you get to know, okay, I should know what they want. So we pivoted several times. Actually, our solutions changed a million times because we wanted to actually know what fits our customers. So yeah, that is how we navigated through it. We went to them and we asked them genuine questions, wanting to exactly know their pain points. Yeah.
And my last one is, why do you believe this is the time of African youth to innovate in business or whatever projects?
I think one of the greatest times ever since the world began to do business is now. Because of the available resources. There's AI now. What do you use your AI for? Apart from going to ChatGPT and asking it to, create, documents and stuff. So the resources are immense. And there's, again, this is not just from my own saying. The owner of ALU said AI is the greatest invention that was ever created after fire. Which,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So which means
okay.
We are in a world where all the information is out there. And in the past, it was a whole entire struggle. You used to hustle. But right now, you know what mistakes you shouldn't make. And right now, just like, there are also all these TV shows. We never had them before. That is why we used to watch Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos and everybody else in the US, because we didn't really have these, inspiring TV shows. But right now, they're here. And you get to, meet other like-minded individuals without really having to struggle that much. So I think there is no better time than now. And Africa is needing it so much. Yeah.
But then again,
yeah, no, great.
Are you satisfied?
Yeah, I'm so
but
satisfied.
Again, I think to this question, I think I got a little bit confused when you were talking about, you went to the customers and your customers are parents.
Yeah.
Someone might wonder, do you go to school conferences? Do you go to those schools and ask for the numbers of the parents? Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Because market research is one thing, but sometimes a person, when they hear you say stuff like that, you make it sound so easy, the way you was talking about it. You make it sound like, oh, I just went and then she just told me this. How did you get there?
Yeah. Okay, thank you for the question. I think you have to, after figuring out who your parent or who your customers are, you have to also figure out where to get them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, definitely, schools were our entry point, but schools is not the only place where customers or parents go to. There are also churches, yeah? Mm-hmm. There are communities for parents.
Mm-hmm. And
there's Umuganda, even conferences. Yeah, but again, the schools were our greatest entry point. So going to the schools and telling them about your program, and majority of the time when the principals and everybody, when they're excited with your program, they usually link you up to the parents. And again, I think the greatest marketing you could ever do in the world is quality. Mm-hmm. So if what you're doing, if the platform that we're selling this skill set, if it's that good, then one parent will link up the other. So it becomes a whole entire chain of marketing, just because you did it very well. Japanese don't usually advertise their products. They don't. But everybody knows that, once you buy Japanese TV, it will last. Nobody will really need to tell you that. Everybody knows it. It became like a common knowledge. Mm-hmm. So quality of what you do. And word of mouth is very, very powerful, because once you hear it from your friend, I used to ask a school principal, how do you get parents? And I also used to ask parents, how do you figure out which school to take your child to? Mm-hmm. Funny enough, both of them, word of mouth. When somebody tells you, my son goes to this school, or my son uses skill set, there is no greater trust than that, because it came from somebody who's used, tested your product. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Melvin, do you have something to add on before we wrap?
Maybe. I would like to maybe come back on your journey. You have been mentioning about, you have been curious since you are young, since you're like, if I may say, a teen.
Yeah.
You have been curious.
Yeah.
And I want to know, like, is it everyone that can be an entrepreneur? Do you think everyone can be an entrepreneur just because the person is curious? That's the question I want to know.
Interesting.
Truth is, no. To me, not everybody can or not everybody should be an entrepreneur. Because again, imagine the world of 7 billion people if everybody was an entrepreneur. Yeah. But again, you are not the one to limit yourself. If you feel it, if you feel that fire, you can be an entrepreneur. I think you know the compilations of how many startups that die every year. Yeah. Pretty much 1% survive after 3 years, and we're very lucky that we've crossed that line. But it came from passion. It came from the fact that we understood and we knew that we wanted to be entrepreneurs, me and my co-founder. We knew it from the bottom of our hearts. But we've also met several great people who are very good at what they do, and they don't want to become, they don't want to be entrepreneurs. So having that clarity of whether you actually want to be an entrepreneur, and again, it goes with the problem that you want to solve. Are you really interested in solving problems? Because the journey of entrepreneurship is so brutal. It is very brutal. And it is equally as brutal even when you have funding, even when you have money, it's still brutal because it comes with, mental toll, family, time. It's a whole thing. And I used to hear people saying, it takes time and everything, but I understood it once I was into it. So I don't think everybody should be an entrepreneur, but I think it's the only way that we could solve African problems is through entrepreneurship.
Thank you.
One of the ways. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr.
I'm grateful.
Stafford.
Yeah. It was a pleasure having you with us tonight. Please can you give him a round of applause? I do hope that each and every one of you asked questions, got his answers correct, and was inspired and motivated to launch his own startup, or at least solve a little bit of problem here and there for the community, right? Melvin, thank you.
Thank you, Songbo.
It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah,
Just like always.
I think I will start a business tomorrow.
What about me? You're going to leave me behind.
We will start together.
Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us for another episode. It was a great pleasure having you, listening to this brilliant entrepreneur. It's always a pleasure to have intelligent people on the platform, teaching us about great things, So let's see each other the next Thursday, same hour, same place. Have a great evening. Bye.